Well, good morning. I'm George Flanagan, Mayor of the City of Vicksburg, and I come to you to give you an update and then at the same time give some warnings to Vicksburg and Warren County as relates to COVID-19. First, before I begin, I think it's just appropriate and befitting that we pause to honor a man and his legacy, a man that was a giant in his community, a pillar in the community, was more than just a physician, more than just a surgeon, more than just a father and a family man, but a man that was committed to the progress of this city, this state, and this nation, Dr. Graves Hobson. So let us pause for a moment of silence. Amen. I come to you this morning in the most serious way that I've ever had to come to the citizens of the city of Vicksburg. We are fast becoming a hotspot city and county. If you look at the numbers in the last couple of weeks, there have been numbers of times where they'll spike. And I was hoping that I didn't have to do this today, I didn't have to come before you today, so I was waiting. But over the past weekend, we went from Thursday to about Monday, 51 reported cases of positive. We're beginning to see in our workplace, even with the employees of the city of Vicksburg, that we've been affected. We have at least 2 cases that are positive, one being in our police department and the other being in the community development department. And we've tested any number of our employees because of the fact is that we have to go by the CDC guidelines and the State Department of Health. But today, I've talked to some of our healthcare providers, and I've talked to some of the task force members of the governor's task force on this virus. Vicksburg is becoming a hotspot, and if we don't mitigate this and don't turn it around, it's going to be beyond my control as mayor to close down some things. I won't be one to do it. It'll be the Department of Health closing down some restaurants, closing down some bars and musician shops, because we believe that if we don't turn this around, and the best way to turn this around is that we have to be more cautious and use more precautions, and we have to practice social distance. We have to practice the use of masks. Now, I am not, because I don't think we have the workforce to execute a mandated mask in our city for the average citizen, but I'm going to implore the employees to please in restaurants and beauty shops and all those businesses to employ your employees to wear masks. Now, as relates to this order that we have in place, we're going to have our code enforcement people that at random go out and check beauty shops, salons, and restaurants without them knowing that they're coming to see whether or not the beauty shops and restaurants and other establishment are going by our guidelines. I remind you now, it's a $1,000 fine for anyone that violates this order. I come to you today in the hardest way because it is approaching a point in Vicksburg history where we're going to be declared a hotspot. And if we do that, we're going to join other cities that the control of the business and control of the community is beyond government's control. It's at least local government. It's in the hands of the Department of Corrections. As of yesterday, we had 347 cases confirmed in Warren County, 14 confirmed deaths. And I think this as of yesterday because I believe yesterday at some point in time, we had another person that died, and I don't know if it's in this count, This is a young man I grew up with. And that's the reason why I take this more personal today, because he died as a result of this disease. And I believe that it's fastly approaching our younger population. And the problem is that the younger population is integrating and taking it home to their mothers, their fathers, their grandparents, and those things. So, we cannot let our guards down because it's summer. We cannot let our guards down because of picnics. We cannot let our guards down because of family gathering. Now, it's my understanding that someone or somebody made the decision as a funeral home director to have a funeral at 3 o'clock. Funerals in Vicksburg are 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. There's a reason for that. Okay? Now, if a funeral home sets a funeral other than 11 or 2 o'clock going forward, we may have to find that funeral home. It is the responsibility of the funeral home, not the family, to set the funeral service and go by the guidelines. It is the funeral home, not the family's responsibility to adhere to these guidelines. And so I'm putting you on notice that we got to do this. Vicksburg cannot afford being a tourist town and being a community like we are afford to be a hot town. So I'm putting you on notice. And because of that, we're changing the fireworks show this year to the point that we're reducing the time in which we believe that the people will be exposed to this each other. We're going to ask that you practice. Well, the city will not provide public seating this year. We will not provide public seating at all. It is strongly recommended that you stay in your car, but if you get out, that you practice social distance and that you wear a mask if you get out. We're reducing the public time of this fireworks show. Rather than starting at 7 o'clock, we'll start at 8 o'clock. The band will only play for an hour, and then we'll have the fireworks show, and then we'll ask you to return to your cars or leave. 3 hours is much too long to be exposed to this virus. And we hope that by making this decision, it would mitigate and minimize the exposure of this, what we call transmission community disease. You're hearing all over the country that it's in the community now. That means that people are walking around, they're asymptomatic and not know it. They don't have fever, they don't have the symptoms, but they are carriers. Now, you may argue, and some may argue that the reason for this, the reason why we're being exposed and the numbers are going up, because we're testing more. There may be some truth to that. But the truth of the matter is they're testing positive. And because of that, we have to monitor this going forward. This is not business as usual. This is a new norm, and we have to adhere. Because the first thing we ought to do is try to save lives, and then from saving lives, we ought to be able to mitigate or minimize this disease from spreading. Now, I have not spoken to the governor, but I will be sending the governor a copy of our proclamation. And I spoke to anyone, but common sense tells me, as a leader, it tells me we have to do something if we're on the verge of a hotspot. So therefore, I'm signing an order this morning that extends this civil emergency order for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We are not ready to lift up any order. It's supposed to end June 29th at 8 o'clock. We extend it to July the 13th at 8 o'clock. It is absolutely imperative that we extend this to protect you, the citizens of Vicksburg, from this deadly disease. And hopefully we can not become a hotspot. So the order that you have now in place will go until July 13th. Now, in case you don't know, It is the previous regulation that remains the same regarding worship services, funeral services, retail stores, restaurants, bars, barber and beautician salon, massage parlor, nail and day parlor, tattoo parlors, tanning salon, dance studio, pet rooms, liquor stores, cigar shop, library, museum, indoor recreation and play or museum, outdoor recreation activities, sports complex, movie theater, auditorium, reception hall, and conference center. Which simply means that you must observe social distance, encourage and wear of a mask in public, and wash and sanitize your hands as often as you can. Gathering, unless addressed specifically in another order, the general rule is that groups gathered with social distance is not possible. 20 inside and 50 outside. Groups gathering with social distance is possible. 50 inside and 100 outside, unless we have the 50% capacity. We're asking everybody to adhere. Now, I'm going to ask the code enforcement to start at random going through the city of Vicksburg throughout the next 2 weeks and see whether or not we're adhering. If not, then we're going to ask that the police department go and provide a citation of a $1,000 warning sign because we have to, I must, and the mayor board of aldermen must provide the very, very safety recommendation to this community because of the spikes or the high number, which I thought will be on the downside, increasing. We have to take this drastic steps. Again, thank you for all that you've done and you continue to do for our safety and your safety. And I say this, and I've said it before, I don't care how we legislate, I don't care how we develop policy. The ultimate responsibility of safety and to mitigate this and to be without exposure is yours. It's self-responsibility time. It is your responsibility to make certain that you or some loved one of yours is safe by practicing social distance and by wearing a mask. The best law in the country is no better than the one that you govern yourself. So having said that, I take any questions.
Mayor, real quick on the fireworks show, I know the contract y'all have in place allows for y'all to terminate that contract without penalty up to a few days ahead of time. Is that correct?
Right.
At what point, at what number, at what threshold do you say it's just not in the best interest to have the fireworks show?
We met this morning with Recreation, Director Joe Gray, and the alderman that's responsible for that, and they're gonna get some statements on that. We'll make the determination we will have a fireworks celebration, but we'll limit it to 2 hours as opposed to 3-hour exposure, and we're gonna encourage social distance and wearing a mask. But we made the decision that we're going forward.
How do you weigh the two things? And the one, your order about not having outside gatherings of more than 100, and then the city hosting a large fireworks show. How do you balance the two orders?
Because they're different in it. I think that if people stay in their cars, that's not to be counted. And if it's, I think it's enough room, enough territory that you can practice social distance as opposed to an auditorium or a convention center. There's enough land. There's so many places that you can be so far away from the fireworks show and enjoy it and not even be near it. For instance, you can be at one of the rooftops. You can be up by the courthouse. You can be anywhere. 5,000 people can be in their cars and be located anywhere in Vicksburg to see that fireworks show. You can stand on your porch or your balcony and watch the fireworks show. Everybody won't have to come downtown a fireworks show. That fireworks show is shown in a way that I think you can see the beauty or the significance of it so far away. So that's one of the reasons. Okay.
Do you think at some point you'll enforce people, or make it mandatory that people wear masks in the city of Vicksburg?
I don't know, but I think the governor is contemplating that, and probably the Department of Human Services, but, hopefully we won't have to do that. I just don't think we have to work for, meaning the police department, to execute that. I think, and the other part of it, I don't wanna get into harassment, and I don't wanna get into profile.
On that same vein, Mayor, as you know, some of us in the media monitor law enforcement, public safety, regular traffic, and I notice now, when they give out calls for EMS calls, they are telling that this address has a COVID-19 positive. Are we at a period where through contact tracing and other issues that we may have to take some mechanism, say, hey, you got it, your family's been exposed, stay in your house?
I think the Department of Health is doing some of that. I think we're at the point now. That's the whole idea of a hotspot. If you become a hotspot, that means the Department of Health comes in, and that if you become positive, you become a part of a process, will allow you to be investigated and allow you to sign affidavits as to where you may have been exposed. That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Back to the code enforcement, does the city have enough personnel that you believe to properly enforce these random checks through code enforcement, and in addition to the other code enforcement issues that routinely pop up?
Well, I think so, because random checks means that if you got 20 stores, then you check 5 of the whole idea is to go unannounced. And if you can go unannounced, walk into a beauty shop, walk into a barber shop, walk into a salon, and you see that they're not wearing the proper mask or not practicing social justice, then you can give you can call the police and they can give a citation on the spot.
Have you received information that there are some
Absolutely.
establishments? So
Absolutely.
that's the reason for this.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I say that. I'm being told that a restaurant, the waitress or waitress are not wearing masks as they serve. Absolutely, and that's the reason why I believe that we're beginning to see the spikes, and it's coming from some of these areas. And to his point, we'll be able to identify. The other thing is that we have some hot spots in our industrial places, and the Department of Health is looking at it. We're doing more testing now. Even the city, we're doing more testing now, and we're looking at it. We had a test site last week of 185 or more people that came in, and we're looking for that to have a spike in number. But we know that we're on the verge. I just talked to the healthcare providers on Monday, and I talked to the experts on this, and we're right there. That's the reason why I'm sounding this warning today and letting the public know we may have stiff action. And it's a hot spot. It's out of my control.